Welcome back to another trade recap, guys. Good news again, I guess. Got another win. I am up 4% now on this month, back to back here. So that's really good. Yeah, I'm really liking this method of trading. Again, it's really, it's stressful though. It's a seriously stressful way to trade, but 77% win rate, that's between 2 months already. Let's see here. 7 trades, 7 winners, 2 losers, 77% win rate right now. 5 wins in January, 2 losses. That is 5, right? That's 5. 2 wins in February so far, both 1 to 2%. Well, not 2%, but 2 are 1 to 2 trade. 1 to 2 are trades, right? So that would net me 4%, risking 1% of the account essentially, right? So yeah, let's just go over this, coming right off of the last video, because this is the trade I took literally after. Let's just clear the chart a little bit. Yeah, I really do think the biggest thing about getting this right is getting the direction, the daily direction correct. And then aligning those candles based on whether you see an hourly model, a 30-minute model, a 15-minute model, and then getting down to the lower time frame for your entries and making sure you see those essentially, what do you call them? Like a trend change confirmation, like a trend confirmation that the trend, like the price is going the direction that you expect, and then a continuation confluence to give you more confidence to enter said trade, right? Now, so coming off of the last video, I was explaining how to determine daily bias, and I decided to take my own advice and do it based on candle closures, right? So coming off of Thursday, we closed below this candle and we closed below the low of this candle. So I was basically thinking like, okay, well, based on this closure, it would make sense that coming into Thursday, oh, it's a Friday. Oh, crap, it's a Friday. I didn't realize that. But coming into Friday, that it would also be a open, high, low, close type situation. So in other words, I'm looking to be bearish, right? So that was my initial bias from the daily. So I went to the 4-hour, and I was like, okay, yeah, this kind of does look like this supports a bearish bias because this is a retracement, right? This does not support continuous upward expansion, like expansion to the upside, because to expand to the upside you need a reversal, a reversal signature. You need a swing point, right? Coming in, opening on this day, we do not have a swing point. This does not qualify as a swing point because this is within this candle's range. That is not a swing point, right? So either we were going to consolidate and not go anywhere, or we were going to go to the downside ideally, right? With that being said, though, we also could see a deeper retracement into this candle with this range, but I was definitely leaning more towards bearish, right? Now, you can see I just marked out my 1400 candle and my 600 candle, and yeah, not much else to see. The charts were pretty much relatively identical. So not much to mark out here on the 4-hour. So then I went down to the 1-hour, and I noticed that well, actually coming into the day, we actually did have SMTs at the highs, but as we developed and went further into that 9 o'clock, 9:30 open, we ended up disrespecting that SMT, right? So the lines are basically not here anymore because they were gone. And I couldn't take a trade to the downside, even though we were in this bearish fair value gap, technically, I couldn't take a trade to the downside unless I had a fractal model. Now, luckily for us, actually, I don't even want to talk about this one just yet, right? Because this is the hourly. I want to ideally trade that first 30, I want to trade that second 30-minute interval of the 9 o'clock candle. So I want to trade 9:30 up until 10, right? Ideally. So what I would be looking for is a 30-minute model, ideally. So drop down to the 30 minutes, and did we have a model? let's see here. We did, right? We did. The only concern I had is that we didn't necessarily have a model on NASDAQ, so that did make me a little bit nervous. But we had it on ES, so I just marked out the candle because I was thinking, okay, maybe we could get some downward movement, which we actually did end up getting downward movement, but I actually didn't end up taking a trade until 10 o'clock, and honestly closer to 10:30 really. Now I'm gonna walk you through. So as soon as I saw this closure, I immediately jumped down to the 1 minute and started tracking the 10 o'clock open high low close, right? Yeah, basically the 10 o'clock open high low close. So now what was I looking at, right? Because this one was a little bit complicated. So where's 10 o'clock, right? Because I marked out, right, 10 o'clock is right here. Right here, and 10 o'clock on ES is, I believe I marked it at right here. Right? Yeah, okay. So I'll mark out these lines to identify where 10 o'clock is, right? Because ideally at 10 o'clock, I want to see price go higher first, which they both did, and then I want it to go lower. Now, when it starts to go lower, what am I looking to see to basically see that we're going to continue going down to the downside? What I want to see a trend change. Now, what confirms the trend change? A break of structure, an inverse fair value gap, and a change in state of delivery, right? So we actually get majority of that. We get a change in state of delivery here. We get a break of structure here. We get an inverse fair value gap here, along with a actually no, not even that. But yeah, so we get a break of structure here on this candle. We get a break, we get a change in state of delivery on this candle, sorry. Then we get a break of structure and inverse fair value gap right here. Now, what am I looking? So that's just to validate the trend change. I want to now know if there's going to be a continuation. And quite frankly, wait a minute. Okay, no, I thought there might have been an SMT. There is not one. Anyways, so once I have that trend change confirmation, I want to see a continuation confluence. I want to see a continuation to prove that we are going to go down to the downside, right? So what am I looking for? What is going to prove that we're going to go down? So ideally, I want to see a bearish PD array be respected. So we create this fair value gap / volume imbalance hybrid twice fold, right? It would kind of consist of this whole area here, essentially, really. But I wasn't, yeah, so I wasn't really, this area was really huge and it made me a little bit nervous, right? And technically I could have entered here after we did this fair value gap, but I don't know, this whole area made me, the fact that we left such a huge gap made me very nervous. So I actually didn't enter this right then and there, right? And I was also monitoring ES as well, and we ended up coming down, having the break of structure. We didn't really have a continuation confluence necessarily. I think this might be a tiny minuscule fair value gap, but I'm not very convinced. And then I was basically saying, okay, we have an order block, but I don't know. I just, a lot of this didn't make me feel comfortable, basically, right? And then on ES, we started to chop, which did not make my confidence in this trade, it did not make me very confident in taking this trade. So what did I do? I realized we were coming up on that 10:30 open, that 10:30 candle. So I was like, okay, well, if we're going to continue going down on this trade, I'd want to see 10:30 go up, and then I just repeat the whole process again, right? We go up, right? I want to see a break of structure, which we technically get right here, and then we have a fair value. To be honest, though, actually, never mind. Yeah, this would still be your entry. Why is it your entry? Because we have a break of structure here. We create a order block that we close below, and not only that, we trade it back into this fair value gap here, which is validated by this first break in structure. So if you wanted to take this you technically wouldn't take it until we close below this order block. So once we did, I entered here and just targeted 1 to 2. I could have just targeted the drawn liquidity, but I just targeted 1 to 2 because, you know. Now, the same thing on ES, right? If you wanted to trade this on ES, the 1030 open, 1030 is right here, we trade up. Breakup structure would be right here, we traded below it. The only issue with this is that actually, yeah, no fair value gap, but we have an order block and we trade below that. So I think the equivalent of this ES trade would have been enter here, stop probably above this body. I wouldn't want to see it come back really. And then target the lows here, and that would give you your 1 to 2 on ES. So as you can see, this really requires a lot of precision, some judgment, because I could have entered on this, but where would my stop have been, right? My stop would have to been like crazy high. It couldn't have just been at this body. I would have been stopped out. And funnily enough, look at that. This whole area, look where it stopped. Look where it respected the equilibrium of that whole area and then traded lower. Look where it came back to. Look, is that random? No, it's not. It's not random. Traded into it and then traded lower. Crazy level of precision. But this way of trading is very nerve-wracking. But like I keep saying in every video that I do, if your direction is correct and you're looking for these trend changes and continuation confluences, it should go in your direction, right? And as we're seeing, this way of trading has a high level of accuracy, but it's also highly stressful as well. I do think doing entries on the 3-minute or 5-minute can be a little less stressful, but trading on the 1-minute does require some more analysis. But yeah, that panned out. That's that trade, up 2% on February. My goal is at least 12%, but minimum that 6%. So I just need one more trade to make that 6%, which is crazy. I think this will be the first time, if I get it, the first time I'll make 6% in a row, like 2 months consecutively, right? And then if I can do even better than 6%, that is like absolutely insane. That would mean that this is definitely the direction that I should go. However, this is really stressful. It's so freaking stressful. But yeah, that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.